Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening. Philip couldn't help but spill the beans when he saw his wife's lack of curiosity. Didn't you used to listen to Melody's music a lot? Arabella is Melody. Arabella is Melody? Grandma Shirley was floored. Looking at the young girl in front of her, she was already an internationally renowned piano master at such a young age. Yes, let me play a piece for you. On the way here, Arabella had already decided to play a few pieces for Grandma Shirley to cheer her up. Grandma Shirley was both thrilled and surprised. She quickly had someone bring the piano over. As soon as Arabella's fingers touched the piano, the beautiful melody entered everyone's ears, making everyone spellbound. Grandma Shirley couldn't help but close her eyes, completely immersed in the piece's mood. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. She wondered if this was a new piece recently composed by Melody. Judging by the style, the mood and the melody, it was definitely from Melody. Ordinary people could never achieve such a skill level and state of mind, let alone compose such a piece. Who would have thought that Arabella was not only a miraculous healer but also a piano master? She heard from her husband earlier that this girl had even founded an international top-tier brand and was managing the Collins family's company. She was truly exceptional. As Arabella's piece ended, Grandma Shirley was left wanting more. She opened her eyes, her gaze full of approval and fondness for the young girl. "So, your Melody." Overwhelmed with emotion, Grandma Shirley's affection for Melody was evident. "The style of Melody, I won't mistake it. Is this a new piece you've recently composed?" She had never heard it before. Arabella gave a smile. It was an impromptu creation. Grandma Shirley was once again taken aback. An impromptu creation that was this good? It was even better than Melody's previous pieces, showing that the girl's skills had improved a lot in this period. "Do you like it? I'll play another one for you. Hold on." Grandma Shirley suddenly stopped her, and her gaze turned to Brody on the side. "Brody, quickly find a recording device and record all the pieces Bella is going to play next." It was so good, she wanted to listen to it over and over again. Her reaction amused Arabella. "If you enjoy it, I'll create some new, pleasant pieces and send them to your phone in the future. You can listen whenever you want." "Great, that's wonderful." Grandma Shirley didn't expect that. Melody could even create music for her anytime. She was immediately overjoyed. The Macmillan family really struck gold. Philip and Romeo, who were being ignored on the side, felt a bit bitter. One wished he was Melody, and the other wished he was Grandma Shirley. Seeing the two of them chatting so enthusiastically, Philip and Romeo exchanged a look. Maybe they should skip dinner? If they kept eating, their wives would ignore them. Arabella played 2 more pieces. Grandma Shirley couldn't stop praising her and even asked for Arabella's autograph like a fangirl. Arabella was dumbfounded. Autograph? Should she give Grandma Shirley an autograph? Brody quickly handed over a pen and paper. After Arabella signed, Grandma Shirley looked at the beautiful handwriting and was happier. She didn't expect Arabella's handwriting to be so beautiful. "Could you add a blessing for me next to your signature?" Hearing this, Arabella gave a faint smile, picked up the pen again, and wrote, "Wishing you good health, a happy life, and happiness every day." Before signing her name, Arabella added a line, "Forever your Bella, Melody." Grandma Shirley saw this and couldn't stop laughing. She immediately asked Brody to find a picture frame, and she put the paper in it herself. "Darling, it's about time. The kids must be hungry, let's have dinner first." Philip's words fell on deaf ears. After Grandma Shirley framed Arabella's signature, she placed it on the bedside table and even asked Romeo to help her take a picture with Arabella. Philip hurriedly said, "I want to join. Let me take a picture with you guys, too." "You step aside." Grandma Shirley wanted to have a few solo shots with Arabella. Philip moved aside, watching Grandma Shirley hugging Arabella and beaming at the camera. He couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. She had never been this close and intimate with him since she woke up. After the photo session, Romeo, noticing Philip's frustration, kindly said, "Grandpa, your turn." Philip, being called out, was instantly as happy as a kid. But the next second, Romeo handed him the phone. "Help me take a few shots with Grandma and Bella." Philip was speechless. Was he excluded? Actually, Brody could help with the pictures. Philip tried to join them. But Grandma Shirley disagreed. "There's no spare room here." Spare? So he was spare. After taking the photos, with her left arm around Arabella and her right arm around Romeo, Grandma Shirley finally said, "All right, Brody, have the kitchen serve the food. Bella must be hungry." "Darling, I haven't taken my pictures yet." Philip, disregarding everything, squeezed into the middle and directed Brody, "Quick, help me take a few pictures." If he waited any longer, Grandma Shirley wouldn't cooperate. Brody hurriedly pressed the shutter. Philip in the frame was making a gesture, seemingly extremely happy to take a picture with his awake wife. "Darling, let me push your wheelchair to join the kids for dinner." Philip personally lifted his wife onto the wheelchair. Romeo and Brody wanted to lend a hand, but he shooed them away. "I'm not so old that I can't lift her. Darling, even if you gain another 10 kilograms, I can still carry you." "Not 10 kilograms. If I gain 2 more kilograms, your old back would probably get hurt." Grandma Shirley could see he was struggling. "Who says, no matter how much weight you gain, it's not a problem? I will keep fit from now on." As Philip said this, he looked at Brody. "You supervise me from now on?" "Yes." The family of 4 was chatting and laughing as they went downstairs, where a lavish dinner was already laid out. "Grandpa Philip, you've prepared too much." Arabella looked at the food in front of her. There were definitely more than 20 dishes, which the 4 of them could never finish. Each dish was not only made of rare ingredients but also posed a considerable challenge to the chef's cooking skills. It's safe to say this dinner was beyond luxurious. "Your grandma said this is her first dinner with you. We can't just go through the motions," Philip added with a smile. Grandma Shirley personally handed Arabella her cutlery. Arabella noticed her shaking hands. Although she was still recovering, she still wanted to do something for Arabella. Arabella felt warm inside and took the cutlery. "Thank you, Grandma Shirley. Grandpa Philip must have told you when you first came here to treat Fairfield Manor as your own home. Today, I want to tell you the same thing. You can eat whatever you want here. Don't be polite, and if there's anything you're not happy with, let us know at any time." After Grandma Shirley finished speaking, she turned to her grandson. "Romeo, you need to keep serving Bella. You know her taste, serve her more." "I will." Romeo gave Arabella a gentle look again. Arabella could feel the love from the 2 old people, especially Grandma Shirley. Although she was weak and needed help to eat, she still tried hard to serve Arabella. Arabella moved and said, "Grandma Shirley, don't trouble yourself. I can do it." The meal was finished in a harmonious atmosphere. Arabella suddenly thought, would the ending have been different if the Murphy family had such an atmosphere in the past? Romeo seemed to read her thoughts and gently said, "The Murphy family is not your home. This is." Arabella looked up at him in surprise. How did he know her thoughts so accurately? The people from the Murphy family are ungrateful. Such an atmosphere would never exist there, so there's no what if. Everything was destined. Arabella was surprised, but her eyes also became softer. She didn't expect him to understand her thoughts so well. After dinner, Grandma Shirley was in high spirits and invited Arabella to the living room for coffee. But Arabella could see that she was getting tired, so she planned to leave after finishing her coffee, allowing Grandma Shirley to rest. Just then, Brody came over to report. Mr. Winters heard that Shirley woke up, so he came to visit. "Mr. Winters is here?" Philip was all smiles, telling Brody to let him in. "Since we have a guest." Arabella was just about to get up and leave when she saw Philip wave his hand and say, "Hold your horses. I've got to introduce you to Mr. Winters. Let him get a little green-eyed, knowing my grandson has a fiancée." Brody brought in an older gentleman, followed by a young girl. The girl was only about 17 or 18, with long, straight hair cascading over her shoulders and delicate skin. Her eyes were filled with pride, which surprised everyone present. "Please take a seat." Philip invited them to sit down. "My wife's awakening is all thanks to my grandson's fiancée." "Really?" Mr. Winters looked at the girl beside him, finding her even prettier than his granddaughter, with delicate features and an extraordinary aura. Arabella also greeted him with a smile. Mr. Winters was a bit puzzled. Weren't there supposed to be a marriage agreement between the Macmillan and Collins families? Wasn't Romeo supposed to marry Serena Collins? How did it suddenly become this girl? Who was this girl? She seemed even more beautiful than Serena, with a great aura and voice. But what was her background? How could she surpass Serena and be with Romeo? Did she pull some strings behind the scene? With these thoughts, Mr. Winters' impression of Arabella dropped a bit. And that girl gave Arabella a proud look, seemingly a bit hostile. She's got so many good points, I could just go on and on. Philip trailed off as Brody brought in the coffee, then continued, "Have a cup of coffee first. It's made from beans from a 300-year-old tree, and the taste is really rich." After his words, he turned to Arabella with a warm smile. "Bella, give this coffee a try and see how you like it. If you're into it, feel free to take more to school." Enid Winters was taken aback. Recalling an auction a few months ago, these coffee beans were sold for $1,000 a gram. And Grandpa Philip was just casually suggesting this girl take them to school? Wasn't this just a waste? Such expensive coffee should be savored in high-end situations with high-end people. That's when it held value and meaning. Letting her take it to school. Philip must really think highly of this girl. Arabella took a sip from her cup, the rich and mellow flavor lingering on her lips. It was indeed a great coffee. After taking a sip, Enid glanced at Arabella. She probably hadn't tasted such pricey coffee in her life, had she? And how did she manage to stick around Romeo and even win over Philip? She thought that outshining Serena would be enough to be with Romeo smoothly, but then this girl appeared. Mr. Winters, after a sip of his coffee, was curious about Arabella's identity and couldn't resist asking Philip, "Your grandson's fiancée is still in school?" "Yeah, Westerly College specially invited her. With her brains, she doesn't really need college, and she's just there out of respect for that old man." Philip responded proudly, with a bit of bragging in his tone. Invited by Westerly College? That eccentric old man from Westerly College thought most brilliant students were just average. Who could possibly get an invitation from him? Before Mr. Winters could ask, Philip couldn't help blur the truth. Not just Westerly College, Helgen College, Morrowind College, Summerfield College. Even famous foreign universities are vying for her. She's this year's top scorer, Arabella. So she's the top scorer. No wonder. Mr. Winters looked surprised, and he didn't expect the top scorer his granddaughter had been grumbling about all summer was right in front of him. His granddaughter should have been the top scorer, but she had a stomach upset on the exam day, and her performance was far from her best. Seeing that this girl not only topped the class but also scored full marks. Her academic ability must be powerful. My granddaughter, Enid, is in the same school. Philip was surprised by this news. Enid's also at Westerly College? I bet she's heard of Bella. I heard Bella's been the talk of the college since day one. Haha. Mr. Winters didn't expect Philip to be so fond of this quiet and well-behaved girl. He laughed. Isn't all the colleges having their outdoor training? Enid didn't attend as she's afraid of getting sunburned. It's a great opportunity to train. It won't cause sunburn. Look at Bella, she's been training for a week, and her skin is still so smooth, haha. Arabella looked at the two old men comparing notes when suddenly, her phone started vibrating. She checked the caller ID, and it was one of her subordinates. She immediately hung up. On the other end, her subordinate felt puzzled. Arabella had been hanging up his calls more frequently since she got together with Romeo. She's changed. She's had it with him. He stubbornly dialed again, and this time, Arabella guessed he had some urgent news, so she excused herself. Sorry, got to hit the loo. Philip was busy chatting and hearing her excuse. He quickly said, Brody, show Bella the way. No worries, I know my way around. Enid arched a brow. It looked like this girl was a regular. Fairfield Manor was huge, and she'd surely get lost without a few visits under her belt. This place was Grandpa Philip and Grandma Shirley's private residence. Not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry could come. Only those tight with the Macmillan family had the privilege. Just who was this girl who seemed to be a regular visitor? Wait a minute. Earlier, Grandpa Philip had said this girl was named Arabella. Could she be from the Collins family? Kenneth and Louisa only had one daughter, Serena. Was this girl a cousin of Serena's? Was she the daughter of Serena's aunt and uncle? Enid wasn't all too familiar with the kids from that side of the family, but she vaguely remembered there being more than one girl. Who would have thought this girl snatched Serena's fiancé right from under her nose? How interesting. If she was of Serena's rank, Enid might have been a bit cautious, but if she was the daughter of Serena's aunt and uncle, Enid had no reason to hold back. Who didn't know that Serena's aunt and uncle were worse off than Kenneth? If they were to compare, the Winters family was better off. Romeo knew Arabella had received a call and had business to attend to, so he didn't accompany her. "Grandma Shirley, would you like some coffee?" Enid took the initiative to pour a cup of coffee and hand it to Shirley warmly, smiled after Arabella had left. "We're so glad to know you're awake." "Yes, we wanted to come see you as soon as we got the news," Mr. Winters added. "Thank you, but I can't drink it." Grandma Shirley declined the coffee with a kind smile. The coffee was too strong, and she couldn't drink it after just recovering from illness. "Shall I get you some water then?" Enid put down the coffee cup and asked Brody to pour some water, acting like the hostess. Before she'd even finished speaking, Brody stepped forward. "There are more guests, Suri and Jessamine." Mr. Winters' words were cut off, so he had to pause and wait for the right moment. Suri and Jessamine were Philip's old friend's daughters-in-law. They must have come to see Grandma Shirley upon hearing she'd woken up. Out of respect for his old friends, Philip had them shown in. "Shirley, you're finally awake. I'm so relieved, and I've been praying for you every day." Suri, on arrival, couldn't help but get emotional. Her voice choked. Jessamine was in the same boat. With tears in her eyes, she said with gratitude, "Thank God, you're finally awake. God bless, you're very lucky. It must be Philip's love for you that moved God." They walked in with tons of gifts, only to find Romeo and the folks from the Winters family already there. They warmly greeted everyone. "Enid, you haven't given your gift to Grandma Shirley yet," Mr. Winters reminded with a smile. "How could I accept gifts from younger people? Besides, it's not even my birthday." Shirley waved her hand with a smile, refusing to accept. But Enid kept holding out the gift. "Grandma Shirley, just open it. I promise you'll like it." Jessamine was a bit curious on the side. "Shirley, since she insists, why not just take a little peek?" "Yeah, let us see what it is too." Suri, who had always been on good terms with the Winters family, chimed in. Shirley thought to herself, since she's offered it, why not just open it? She could always give it back and not make the younger one lose face. With Grandpa Philip's help, she opened it to find a set of top-notch chess pieces and a shiny gold chessboard. "It's a gold chess set. What a gem!" Jessamine and Suri exclaimed, surprised by the young woman's generosity. Even more surprising, how did she get her hands on it? Gold of this caliber was scarce, and only the purest and most evenly colored pieces were chosen for carving. It's said that selecting the chess set's materials took 3 years. It was followed by another 3 years to handcraft the 32 pieces. Each piece was worth $200,000. More importantly, as soon as this chess set was released, it attracted countless collectors and was eventually brought by a famous man, Mr. Eugene, for $18 million. No one else could buy it. Jessamine couldn't help but ask, "Enid, how did you manage to buy it?" Shirley was also amazed. She couldn't believe that Enid managed to purchase the chess set from Mr. Eugene. Just then, Arabella returned, noticing 2 more guests in the living room. Jessamine and Suri were also taken aback. They didn't expect another girl to show up, especially one they'd never seen before. "Bella's back," Shirley introduced with a smile. "Let me introduce you to 2 more people. This is my grandson's wife, Arabella." "What?" Jessamine and Suri were even more astonished. Where did this girl come from, and how did she replace Serena as a member of the Macmillan family? Her tactics were really something. And with Enid still here, they initially thought she had the best chance given Romeo's lack of interest in Serena. Surprises never ceased. "Bella, this is Jessamine, and this is Suri," Shirley continued with a smile. Arabella nodded and smiled slightly. "Hello, Jessamine, Suri." "Hello." Jessamine noticed that Romeo had been holding her waist since Arabella came back. It seemed he really liked this girl. Suri even saw Romeo whisper something into Arabella's ear, to which she softly replied. They looked like a couple in love. Who would have thought the Macmillan family's grandson's wife would be replaced so suddenly? This girl's maneuvers were simply astonishing. Anyone who can become part of the Macmillan family must have something extraordinary about them. Bella, come take a look at this chess set. What do you think of the craftsmanship? Is it pretty? Jessamine took this opportunity to probe the girl's background. If she came from a wealthy family, she would definitely know the origin and value of this chess set. If she were from a poor background, she definitely wouldn't. Arabella glanced at it and casually said, "It's pretty ordinary, nothing special." This statement was a blow to everyone. They were all stunned. She actually said that this priceless chess set was ordinary and nothing special. She must come from a poor background. She's clueless. Enid could hardly keep from laughing. It seems you have no idea about the value of this chess set. This is the famous gold chess set, which a collector once bought for $18 million. Jessamine couldn't help but explain, considering your age, you probably haven't had much exposure to the world of chess. This is not the gold chess set. Arabella stated calmly, it's not the one you're talking about. Once she said this, everyone was stunned. What did she say? This was not the gold chess set? How could that be? How could she be so sure? The gold chess set is beautifully made and evenly colored. Obviously, this one is a fake. Mr. Winters was very embarrassed and glared at her angrily. Nonsense. If it weren't for Philip and Shirley's presence, he'd be fuming. She actually said in front of everyone that Enid's gift was a fake. That's just too much. Did she think she can say whatever she wanted just because she's the future Mrs. Macmillan? This matter was still not settled. Did she think too highly of herself? Enid was pissed off hearing her say that, but she kept her calm, smiling as she asked, "So you can tell if it's real or fake just by looking at it? What, are your eyes scanners or something?" Arabella looked up and said with conviction, "I can tell by listening that this isn't genuine." Enid laughed at that. "You're something, you know that? This chess set doesn't make a sound. How exactly are you listening to it? With your heart." Jessamine and Suri couldn't help but join in the laughter. This little girl was trying to show off in front of Philip and Shirley, but she's going about it all wrong. She can tell if a chess set was genuine just by listening to it. Let's see her prove it to everyone then. When I said listen, I meant listening to you talk, not the chess set. Arabella stared straight into Enid's eyes and said, "Jessamine asked me to appraise this chess set. I was just being honest. If you felt offended, it wasn't intentional." Enid had never encountered such an audacious girl before. "If you claim it's fake, can you prove it?" Proof? She did have some. It would just take some time. "You say this chess set is a knockoff. May I ask, how did you come to that conclusion?" Enid challenged smugly, "Just by the color?" "This chess set looks pretty good, huh? Especially the board, all shiny and golden. Can a fake really be this good? I doubt it." Jessamine clearly didn't believe Arabella's words. Suri also tried to help the Winters family out. "Bella, did you see a picture of this chess set online, and that's how you spotted the difference? You can't trust pictures on the internet, you know. The pixel quality can distort the real thing. They should always trust their own eyes. Only what they saw with their own eyes was real." Romeo, supporting Arabella by her slender waist, said, "Jessamine asked my fiancé for her opinion, and she just told the truth. She didn't mean any offense. She's right, this chess set does look ordinary. Can't we accept the truth these days? Do we have to flatter her?" His words not only made the Winters family uncomfortable but also embarrassed Jessamine and Suri. "Romeo, do you think so too?" Enid bit her lip. Clearly, Romeo was defending this girl and even calling her his fiancée, giving her a lot of credit. What kind of tricks did this girl use? Find a new nickname? Romeo looked into Enid's eyes and said indifferently, "We've only met a few times. We're not close. You're too familiar, and it can lead to misunderstandings." Mr. Winters, seeing Romeo defend that girl time and time again, making his granddaughter uncomfortable, finally spoke. Enid knew that Shirley loves chess. She went through a lot of trouble and pulled many strings to get this. It's a token of her respect for Shirley. Now that it's being called a fake, it's understandable that she's upset. The Winters family wouldn't deceive people with a fake, would we? Sitting at the head of the table, Shirley gave a graceful smile and said, "Whether this chess set is real or fake, it's the thought that counts, Enid. But I can't accept such an expensive gift. You should take it back." After saying this, she closed the lid, and Brody placed the gift on the table before Enid. It was clear. She was expected to take it with her when she left. "Bella, come over here." Shirley beckoned to Arabella. Arabella was pulled to sit between her and Philip. Shirley affectionately patted Arabella's hand. "I like kids who tell it like it is. I've seen too many people with ulterior motives over the years. I prefer someone like you." Her words made everyone else's faces even more uncomfortable. Young people should be like this. It reminds me that I had the same character when I was young. Shirley said this and started laughing. Sitting on the couch, Enid clearly wasn't convinced. "Grandma Shirley, Ms. Bella hasn't explained what's fake about my chess set. If Arabella can't provide a specific reason today, she won't let it go." Originally, Shirley had diverted the topic, but now Enid brought it up again, making the atmosphere awkward similarly. Maybe Enid doesn't understand how this chess set could be fake. Did Miss Bella make a mistake, or does she not know how to tell the difference? Suri tried to help explain. What Miss Bella is questioning is not just the chess set, but also Enid's respect for Shirley. "You can question my things, but if you question my feelings for Shirley, that's not okay." Enid clearly wanted to vent. "Please, Miss Bella, point out what's fake about this chess set." Mr. Winters pretended to be generous and laughed. "Young people these days love to make a fuss. Let them sort it out. We adults can just sit back and enjoy the show. They're still young, still full of energy. Come on, Philip, Shirley, let's continue drinking our coffee." He didn't stop his granddaughter but instead encouraged her to keep going. This was his extreme indulgence toward her. Philip was a bit upset. If it weren't for the fact that Mr. Winters had once saved his son's life, he would have asked them to leave. He wouldn't let them stay here. Just as Philip was about to interject, Arabella spoke. "Grandpa Philip, Grandma Shirley, you guys have some coffee." Arabella handed the coffee to Philip, then passed the water cup to Shirley, her tone soft. "Since Miss Enid insists on me explaining, I'll tell her and clear up her doubts." Seeing Arabella's attitude, Shirley was all smiles. "Good, you two have a good talk then. We adults won't interfere." When Enid heard that Shirley wouldn't interfere, she was even more delighted. "Then please, Miss Bella, explain in detail. We're all ears." Arabella looked at her, her tone casual. "The reason I can tell this chess set is a fake is because I have the real one." With that, everyone was dumbfounded. This girl's got some nerve, lying so openly in front of so many people. They all knew how valuable this chess set was. They all knew about the previous collector, Mr. Eugene, his rotten temper, his arrogance. Even if Shirley herself offered to buy it at a high price, he might disagree. Arabella was just a young girl. What abilities did she have, and what resources, to make Mr. Eugene sell the chess set to her? Enid looked at Arabella, her eyes full of disdain. "Do you know how much this chess set costs?" Looking at her clothes, none of them branded, it was apparent she couldn't afford this chess set. "My chess set can't be fake. If you say you have the real one, bring it out for everyone to see." Just then, Arabella's phone vibrated a few times. Perfect timing. "All right, I'll go get it now." Arabella stood up and walked to the door. Her subordinate handed her a box that looked incredibly valuable. He was puzzled. "Why are you so desperate for this? Is it just to impress the Macmillan family people? You've changed. What magic had Romeo cast on her to make such a money lover willingly give away such a valuable thing? What's more, he had to deliver it within 10 minutes. He was almost speeding to avoid getting a ticket. Go." Arabella took the box and walked back without even a glance at him. Her subordinate watched her cold back, his heart aching. He felt that she didn't like him anymore, didn't care how fast he was driving, whether he was tired, whether he was thirsty, just told him to leave. Young people these days don't even feel ashamed to lie. Mr. Winters shook his head with a grin in the living room, obviously questioning Arabella's character. The real thing can't be with her. He was waiting to see what she could bring out. After a while, Arabella walked in with a beautifully crafted box. When Philip saw the box, he was almost sure that Arabella had the real thing. Mr. Winters also couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the box, his gaze frozen in disbelief. Mr. Eugene was totally nuts about chess. He paid a hefty price for this chess set and even splurged on a fancy box to store it in. How did this box end up in Arabella's hands? Could it be the real deal inside? Sorry to keep you waiting. Arabella handed the gift box to Shirley, smiling. I planned to bring you this chess set next time, but didn't expect this twist. So, I'm gifting it to you now. Hope you like it. Arabella's gesture took aback Shirley. She had planned to gift her this chess set all along. Her face lit up with joy, and she asked Philip to open it. The chess set and board inside were even more uniform and beautiful. How can this be? Jessamine said, surprised. How can there be two identical chess sets? Arabella's chess set, in terms of color and workmanship, was no less than Enid's. Were fakes nowadays really this convincing? Suri also couldn't believe her eyes. In this chess set of Arabella's, there wasn't a single flaw. Mr. Winters also looked a bit off. He didn't expect the chess set in Arabella's hands to be this convincing. My chess set was bought from the granddaughter of the previous collector, and there's no way it's fake. Where did you get yours? Arabella looked up, her eyes clear, and said lightly, Mr. Eugene doesn't have a granddaughter. This claim took everyone by surprise. Everyone knew that Mr. Eugene had a granddaughter, but he was very private, so hardly anyone had seen her. Arabella insisted, You've been duped. Enid clenched her fists. You're talking nonsense. I have the contact of Mr. Eugene's granddaughter. I can see her on Facebook. There are lots of pictures of her with Mr. Eugene. Some pictures were even taken in Mr. Eugene's yard. If she wasn't his granddaughter, how could she appear in his house in her pajamas, taking affectionate pictures with him? The person you know is definitely not Mr. Eugene's granddaughter. You've been fooled. Hearing Arabella say this, Enid got even more furious. Do you know Mr. Eugene? How do you know he doesn't have a granddaughter? You still haven't answered where you got your chess set from. If you're lying today, not only do you ruin the friendship between the Macmillan family and the Winters family, but you also tarnish Mr. Eugene's reputation. After all, she claimed that Mr. Eugene didn't have a granddaughter. My chess set was given to me by Mr. Eugene. Once Arabella said this, the room went silent with shock. No. Impossible. Mr. Eugene loved chess. How could he give away his beloved treasure to a little girl? Even his granddaughter had to work hard for over 3 months to get this chess set. Mr. Winters was the first to laugh, clearly thinking that Arabella was joking. Didn't he know Mr. Eugene's temper? He was a grumpy old man, and it was impossible for him to favor a little girl and give away his cherished collection. This was a colossal joke. This girl's lies were getting more and more absurd. Enid also laughed. Miss Bella, your ability to concoct lies is truly commendable. You say you know Mr. Eugene and that he gave your chess set? Do you have any proof? I have his contact. Mr. Winters found it even funnier after hearing this. Miss Bella, let me tell you, I know Mr. Eugene, and I recognize his voice. He doesn't just give out his contact to anyone. He had been ruthlessly denied when he wanted Mr. Eugene's contact. He had tried to buy that chess set before, and no matter how much he tried to please, Mr. Eugene simply would disagree. And this girl managed to get Mr. Eugene to give it to her willingly? What a joke. Arabella took out her phone and dialed a number. Soon after, the other party picked up the call. Bella, am I seeing things, or did you dial the wrong number? I can't believe you're calling me. That's a rare treat. Mr. Eugene's voice echoed from the other end of the phone, leaving everyone in shock. Philip and Shirley, recognizing the voice instantly as Mr. Eugene's, felt like they had the game in the bag. Even Mr. Winters' face changed color. This was definitely Mr. Eugene's voice. There was no way he could mistake the accent, the tone. But how could this be? It sounded as if Mr. Eugene actually knew this girl. Who exactly was this girl that Mr. Eugene so highly regarded her? Mr. Eugene, have you gone to bed yet? I hope I'm not disturbing you. Arabella remembered he usually retired early. Well, you're being quite formal now. Forget about sleeping. Even if I was lying in a coffin, I'd get up if you called. When are we going to have another chess match? The implications of this were massive. Arabella played chess too? From the sound of it, she had even played chess with Mr. Eugene. Could it be that she was a chess whiz? I'll come over some other day. As Arabella said this, she went straight to the point. I heard you have a granddaughter. Just asking. What granddaughter? I wasn't aware. Ah, I get it. You must have heard some rumors and thought I had recognized someone else as my granddaughter. That's impossible. I only want to recognize you as my granddaughter. What do you say? Have you changed your mind? Many want to be my granddaughter. If you miss out this time, there won't be another chance. Arabella hadn't expected him to bring this up again, so she changed the subject. We'll talk about that later. Do you remember the golden chess set? I do. Didn't I give it to you? Do you want to give it back to me? I knew you were a gentle and sweet girl. You're overthinking it. Arabella cut off his daydream. I'm calling to tell you I gave it away. What? You silly girl, that chess set was my treasure. I gave it to you because I love you. Are you sure it's because you love me? Caught off guard by Arabella's question, Mr. Eugene stammered, well, there's definitely a part of it because I love you. Since everyone was listening to the call, Arabella didn't expose him but said, all right, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm hanging up now. Wait, you haven't said when you'll come next. Before Mr. Eugene could finish, Arabella had hung up the phone. Everyone was amazed. Mr. Winters hadn't expected this girl to actually know Mr. Eugene, and Mr. Eugene himself admitted that he had given her the chess set. And Enid's face turned even more sour. If the one in Arabella's possession was the real one, then what the hell did she spend a whopping $20 million on? No, this can't be. Enid shook her head, unable to accept the reality. Enid, were you deceived? Suri tried to comfort her. Don't you have the contact information of Mr. Eugene's granddaughter? Call her quickly and ask what's going on. Since Bella has Mr. Eugene's contact, if necessary, she can also help Mr. Eugene communicate with the granddaughter. Jessamine also suggested. All eyes were on Enid. Feeling embarrassed, Enid took out her phone, ready to call the granddaughter, only to find out she'd been blocked. Seeing Enid's face turning extremely sour, Suri anxiously asked what had happened and found out she'd been blocked. The truth was as clear as day. Enid was swindled, and after the swindler received the money, she was blocked. After all that fuss, it turned out she's been swindled. Shirley looked at Arabella lovingly. I can't believe you even have a connection with Mr. Eugene. When Grandpa Philip tried to buy the chess set from him, he even turned down Grandpa Philip. It's clear he values you greatly. Without a doubt, Arabella must be a chess prodigy. Could you come over and play chess with me and your grandma? Philip invited her with a smile. Arabella chuckled, sure. Mr. Winters tried to lighten the mood. Never thought Derek would be fooled by a scam, but luckily this gift still ended up in Shirley's hands. The sender might be different, but the sentiment is still nice. Romeo's eyes dimmed. Wasn't he just a shameless one? Different sender, different sentiment. Romeo said calmly, this is a gift from Bella as a granddaughter-in-law to Grandma. It's fundamentally different from a gift from Ms. Enid. Mr. Winters' smile froze but quickly returned, agreeing with a yes. Romeo's gaze fell on Enid. Ms. Enid hasn't formally apologized to my future wife yet. Enid looked confused. Apologize? Ms. Enid was quite harsh just now, rude even. My fiancée is quite introverted and you scared her. Hearing Romeo say this, Enid was fuming. Arabella introverted? Where was she introverted? She looked like she was afraid of nothing. With the Macmillan family backing her up, she became disrespectful and unbridled. She was clearly arrogant, yet they had the audacity to call her introverted, clearly playing favorites. Since this was happening in the Macmillans' house, Mr. Winters pretended to scold, Enid, you misunderstood Ms. Bella's good intentions without knowing the full story. Better apologize. Even though Enid was unhappy, her grandpa had spoken, so she had to bite the bullet and pretend to apologize. "I'm sorry, my attitude was inappropriate." Regardless of whether Arabella forgave her, Mr. Winters quickly changed the subject. "Ms. Bella is magnanimous. I'm sure she won't take this to heart. Remember your status and think 3 times before you act." Enid pretended to comply, saying, "Yes, I'll heed Grandpa's words." "All right, it's getting late. You all should get some rest." Shirley ended the meeting, not wanting to see their faces any longer. Philip stood up with a smile and said, "Remember your grandpa's words when you return home. The elders have more experience than you, and young people should be modest and cautious." His words had 3 layers. First, to express dissatisfaction with Enid's behavior. Second, to remind Enid to be polite to Arabella, who now had the Macmillan family's protection. Third, elders have more experience. Don't offend them, or they have many ways to make life difficult for the Winters family. Enid didn't expect Philip to protect Arabella this much, so she bowed her head, pretending to repent, and said, "Thanks for the reminder, Grandpa Philip. I was wrong." Mr. Winters laughed, saying, "I'm sorry, I spoiled my only granddaughter." He wanted to lighten the mood with a joke, but Philip's smile only grew colder. "We only have one granddaughter-in-law, but she's not spoiled or arrogant. Instead, she's an honest person who's easily taken advantage of. I need to have a chat with her. You should also educate your granddaughter properly. She's still young, so there's still time to teach her. You don't need to visit anymore." Philip's words left the 2 members of the Winters family standing in shock. This was completely different from the warm welcome at the beginning. Brody quickly offered the fake chessboard with both hands. "Mr. Winters, Ms. Enid, please follow me." Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.